Imagine you're standing outside, staring at the sky, everything is calm. Then suddenly, boom, a deafening roar, a violent jerk in the atmosphere, and in just 5 seconds, the entire world changes. What just happened? Well, the Earth stopped spinning, just for 5 seconds, but the consequences, they're beyond your wildest imagination. Welcome to the Forgotten Earth TV, where we explore science, space, and the biggest what-ifs of our universe. Today, we're diving into one of the most mind-blowing thought experiments. What if our planet suddenly stopped spinning? For just 5 seconds. You might think 5 seconds isn't long enough to cause chaos, but by the end of this video, you'll realize it could be enough to reshape the Earth as we know it. Let's start with some basics. The Earth spins at roughly 1,670 kilometers per hour, 1,037 miles per hour, at the equator. This rotation is what gives us day and night, and it's been happening since the Earth formed, about 4.5 billion years ago. This spinning motion keeps everything in a delicate balance. The oceans, the atmosphere, even the shape of the planet itself, flattened at the poles, bulging at the equator. So what happens if we suddenly bring all of that to a halt? For just 5 seconds, let's break it down. First, the ground beneath your feet stops, but your body doesn't. Everything not solidly anchored, people, cars, animals, even the oceans, would continue moving at 1,037 miles per hour due east. It would feel like a global car crash. Skyscrapers would rip apart, planes would fall out of the sky, mountains might even crumble from the stress of that instantaneous deceleration. Second, the air around us keeps moving too. This would create unimaginable hurricane-force winds, thousands of kilometers per hour, sweeping across the planet, flattening cities and tearing forests out of the ground. Next up, the oceans. Imagine entire oceans slamming into coastlines, a global mega-tsunami, crashing with the force of a nuclear bomb. Water from the equator, where the centrifugal force is strongest, would surge toward the poles as Earth momentarily loses its bulging shape. Entire continents could flood in moments. 5 seconds. That's all it would take for catastrophic hydrological collapse. Now let's talk about the atmosphere. With the Earth not spinning, the Coriolis effect, which drives weather patterns, vanishes. Storm systems would stall, merge or reverse. The sun, frozen in the sky during those 5 seconds, would confuse the natural order. No sunrise, no sunset, just a brief, eerie pause. Satellites in orbit would be thrown off balance, disrupting GPS, communications, and surveillance systems instantly. Okay, the 5 seconds are up. Earth starts spinning again, but the damage is done. Tectonic activity would spike. Earthquakes and volcanic eruptions could erupt as the crust readjusts. The magnetic field might weaken temporarily, exposing us to dangerous solar radiation. And the loss of infrastructure would be global. Power grids gone, cities in ruin, billions without shelter. Some scientists theorize that even if the Earth resumed spinning, life as we know it wouldn't recover. And remember, it only stopped for 5 seconds. We survived the unimaginable. The Earth stopped spinning for 5 seconds, but the moment it started again, a new nightmare began, because what came after was even worse. When the Earth resumed its rotation, it didn't ease back gently, it slammed into motion. A global shockwave, invisible but deadly, raced across continents. Buildings that had barely withstood the sudden stop were now torn from their foundations. Roads split open, power grids failed. Humanity was plunged into instant chaos. But worse than the quake were the winds. You see, when the Earth stopped spinning, the atmosphere kept moving, and now, the reverse happened. The Earth's crust sped up, but the atmosphere lagged behind. The result, supersonic winds, thousands of kilometers per hour, sweeping across the globe, flattening forests, tossing cars, and turning buildings into rubble. Coastal cities were decimated. Tsunamis, created by both the sudden halt and the reacceleration, now surged inland, sweeping away everything in their path. Entire island nations disappeared under walls of water. Harbors turned into vortexes. Ships were tossed miles inland. But the Earth didn't just shake. Its very core was disturbed. The motion of molten iron in our outer core, which powers the magnetic field, had been thrown into chaos, and now, satellites began to fail, GPS was lost, auroras appeared over strange places, but more dangerously, the magnetic shield weakened, exposing us to harmful radiation from the sun. Climate patterns, already fragile, were now broken. Jet streams shifted unpredictably. Deserts experienced floods, tropical regions saw frost, agricultural zones were ruined overnight. A global food crisis loomed. Around the world, governments declared martial law. Air travel was grounded, supply chains broke down. Millions of people began to flee disaster zones. Some sought higher ground, Others moved toward the equator, believing it to be safer, but the truth, no place was safe anymore. Then came the trauma, nightmares of the sky breaking apart, children growing up thinking the earth could stop at any time. Faith in science, in stability, in the very laws of nature, shattered. What was once unthinkable had happened, and that realization haunted everyone. In time, humanity adapted. We rebuilt smaller, more resilient cities. We developed underground shelters, better atmospheric monitors, and even started looking toward other planets. Because if the Earth could betray us once, it might again, and so began the next chapter, not just of survival, but of transformation. In the vast silence of space, our planet is spinning a gentle, cosmic dance that has lasted over 4.5 billion years. We don't feel it, we don't hear it, but this silent spin is the heartbeat of Earth. It's what gives us time, seasons, balance, life, and yet in this thought experiment, we imagined the unimaginable. A sudden halt, just 5 seconds. It sounds brief, insignificant, but in those 5 seconds, chaos unfolded. The oceans roared out of their basins. The winds became monsters. Skyscrapers crumbled like sandcastles. Day and night were thrown into confusion, and humanity stood powerless. It wasn't just a disruption of physics. It was a collapse of order. A reminder that the systems we depend on are far more fragile than we care to admit. And as quickly as it began, the spin resumed. But the damage was done. This story is fiction, but the message is real. We live on a planet that works perfectly, not by chance, but through a balance of forces too grand to fully grasp. The Earth spins at 1,670 kilometers per hour at the equator, a pace we never feel, but depend on every single day. Its rotation helps regulate temperature. It powers ocean currents. It fuels the jet streams. It shields us from solar radiation. It defines time itself, all of it. Connected to stop that spin, even for a few seconds, is to strip away the invisible threads that hold our world together. So let's ask ourselves, what else do we take for granted? The air we breathe, the climate that supports our crops, the magnetic field that protects us from solar death, the silence of stability. We think of Earth as permanent, but permanence is an illusion. Our planet is alive, dynamic, and constantly changing, sometimes slowly through tectonic shifts and evolutionary tides, other times violently through comets, supervolcanoes, or cosmic disruptions. This isn't just about science. It's about awareness. It's about humility, and wonder, and maybe responsibility. Because while we can't control the spin of Earth, we can control how we treat it. We can explore deeper, ask bigger questions, prepare for possibilities, protect what we have. In the end, this scenario reminds us of something profound. We live on a spinning miracle, and each moment we walk its surface, each breath, each sunrise, each heartbeat, is a result of forces we rarely acknowledge, but owe everything to. Let's not wait for a disaster, fictional or real, to start appreciating the elegant balance of our home. Let's stay curious, let's stay grateful, and above all, let's never stop imagining. Because through imagination, we see beyond the now, and through science, we prepare for what's next. If you enjoyed this journey through imagination and science, there's so much more waiting. Subscribe to the Forgotten Earth TV and explore the biggest what-ifs in science, history, and the universe, from the rise of ancient creatures, to the fall of planets, to the future of humanity. Subscribe and join a community of curious minds. Our next video might change the way you see the world.